Hi, you're on a rock, floating in space. Pretty cool, huh? We make electricity to power things like computers, computers in your pocket, computers in your watch, and magic bubble lamps. But where does it come from? Well, it comes from magic rocks, or sometimes laser beams, but in Ontario it's mostly magic rocks. In Canada we use CANDU reactors, which also happen to be invented in Canada. They use magic rocks to heat some water, and then it makes the water a gas, and then it makes a thing spin, which makes electricity. But why do we use magic rocks? Well, it comes down to a few things. Let's start with the environment. How much magic rock do we have in Canada? That's a lot of magic rocks. In fact, that's so many magic rocks that 85% of it is exported to countries like the US so they can make magic bombs. Fun. Okay, let's take a breather and talk about economics, okay? Uranium is extremely cost efficient, probably because this much uranium can sustain the average American's needs for 2,229 years, and thorium is even more energy dense than that. Sure, in other places solar panels are very effective. In fact, they're one of the cheapest sources of energy production, but unlike magic rocks, we can't import and export sunlight to other countries. That's what makes magic rocks so special. Not only can we mine these rocks for our own use, but we can export them elsewhere to make a lot of cash. Back to Canada though, the reason we don't use solar panels is because it's so cold and we get so little sunlight. This has to do with our latitude on Earth. The closer you are to the equator, the more sunlight you'll get. That's why countries like Dubai love them so much. There's another reason we use nuclear power, and it has to do with people's views on the country. A lot of people view Canada as a very nice and eco-friendly place, and although the validity of that statement is debatable, it's one that people have nonetheless. Canadians are more willing to support and fund the development of eco-friendly power sources like nuclear power. Of course, that applies more to sources like hydropower, which may contribute to why it's used much more than nuclear power nationally, but that's the story for another day. Now, I've been talking about how much Ontario loves nuclear power, but I should elaborate. Let's get into the numbers. There are 5 nuclear power plants in Canada. Only 4 of them are being used, and 3 of those 4 are in Ontario. Here's another way to look at it. The entire country of Canada produces 14,033,000 kilowatts of energy via nuclear power. How much of that is from Ontario, you ask? A bit over 13 million. About 30% of electricity in Ontario is nuclear, more than solar, wind, and conventional steam turbines combined. In fact, Ontario produces about as much energy as 1/7 of all the nuclear energy production in the entire United States of America, or about 3 times more if you're measuring by production per person. So that's why we use magic rocks in Ontario. It's plentiful, eco-friendly, and cost-efficient. Thank you for watching Thomas Briefly Explain Stuff sometimes. Come back next episode as we take a look at the history of Bongo Cat.